Hey everyone, this is a quick overview of how to customize the Fire Mappers map setup to track the creek fire. I do have a pre-formatted map linked on my Jenna's Workshop blog on the fire info page. Right down here I have a link here and also an embedded map if you want to use that, but you can also create one yourself. The first thing that you need to do is go to the website. It has a really long URL, so the easiest way to get to it is just click Fire Mappers in your search engine, and it's usually the first result that comes up. This website can take a little bit of time to load, so be patient with it if it takes a little bit of extra time. So when you first come to the Fire Mappers map, you'll see that it's centered somewhere in Utah near Salt Lake City. So the easiest way to get to the Creek Fire area is to just type in a town. So I'm going to put in North Fork. And you can see we're pretty zoomed in. So I'm going to go up here to the zoom in and out and zoom out a bit. So now we can see here's the fire. So the fire map layers are already loaded for this map, which is great. So once you get everything loaded, you can see that the default base layer is the topographic map, and you can customize this map in a few that has some different options. I'm looking at this on my desktop, so all the menu items are expanded, but if you're looking from your phone, if I make this a bit smaller, you can see it shrinks it down, and then all of the map menu becomes available here if you click on this. So just a note, if you're looking at this on your phone, it might look a little bit different. So I'm going to expand it back out again. And the first thing that you want to do is click on this four squares link or icon, and that's going to show you the base map gallery. And this has a lot of similar base maps that the Caltopo map platform does. So down here, topographic is what is the default, but we're going to click on navigation because that's going to be pretty similar to the Google Maps view. So then you can either close the entire menu selection here, or you can minimize it. And you can see now we've got a better view of streets and towns and roads. So then the second portion of customizing your map is the layers. So if you click on this little layers stack icon, you'll see that there are two different areas here that you can customize. There's incident data, which is going to include all of the fire information, and then base data. So under incident data, you'll see there's some things that are selected here that really correlate to other areas of the map in the US, so it doesn't really matter. You can play around with those if you want, but the things that you want to make sure are selected here are these two satellite selections. So there's MODIS and VERS, and those are the ones that are going to show you this kind of data here that shows you more recent hotspots. So you want to make sure that those two are checked. And then down here in the base data, this will just show you some additional information, parks and forests, county lines, which you can see here, which in this case is helpful since there is a division about how the fire is being fought between Madera and Fresno County. So that can be useful. But if you don't need that, you can always turn that off. So now that you have your map set up, you can start to zoom in a little bit more, and you can see this hotspot data. So if you want a legend that shows you what this hotspot data means, there's a link here that you click, and this will show you all of the icons that are on the map. So you can see this is the creek fire, it's an active fire, and there's a lot of information here. And down here where you have the satellite data, you can see that these larger spots, kind of a white dot with a big red blurry line around it, that information, that data is within the last 24 hours. And that's the case for both the MODIS satellite and the VERS satellite. So if you want to get a little more detail, you can turn off the fire perimeter to see these hotspots in a little bit more detail. So to do that, you're going to want to go back to the base layer, the layered data, and then you can turn off wildfire fire perimeters. And that makes it a little bit easier on this specific map, just to zoom in and see some more of the hot spots and where that activity is. The last thing I wanted to show you was how to measure distances. So it's very similar to the CalTopo map. Let's turn the perimeter back on. Again, if you want to zoom in and see how close, say, these hotspots are to Road 274 in Bass Lake, you can go up here to this little ruler tool and you can click it and it will bring up a measurement. And then you want to click this middle icon here that says distance. And then you can sometimes the hotspots disappear when you make some changes, so just clicking and kind of moving the map around will help those layers come back into focus. So say I want to, just measure this hotspot right here that we can see was in the last 24 hours. I can just click and you can see that it sets a marker here, and then you can come right over here and you can see, click again. Actually, we need a double click. And then you can see here the distance. You can make several marks here if you want to do some kind of a longer distance. And then you just double click when you're done. And if you want to clear these measurements off the map, you just hit clear. So the last thing is if you make a specific map that you want to share with someone else, a zoomed in view or something, or maybe a wide view, you can make sure you get the map the way that you want it, and you can click this little share button here in the upper right, and it will give you a specific link that you can share with people. Now, one thing that you want to do is to preserve the specific map layers that you've put on here. You want to click on this link options, and you want to click remember layers visibility. So with this map, you can have it remember the layer data that you put on here, but it won't remember the base data. So if I were to send this link out right now, it would come up with all of this information, but the Google Maps base layer would not be here. It would default back to the topographic layer. So that's something that is not as helpful, but that's why I wanted to show you how to change your base layer here. Again, you just go to the base map gallery, and you can see that I minimized it, so we're just going to click this double arrow here, and then you can use this to change. There's a couple of different maps in here that you can use, street maps, some imagery, if you want to play around with how this looks. If you make some changes to the map and you see that you've lost your fire data, if you just move the map around a little bit, that information will come back. So that's it for the overview. If you want to find more information on the Creek Fire and some of the tools that I have there, you can go to jennasworkshop.com, and also my Facebook is Jenna's Workshop blog. Thanks for watching.